It's a stretch bake. We're gonna make Danishes. Is it really a stretch bake? No, I wouldn't say so, but it's something new. I've made laminated pastries before, so it's not like I'm unfamiliar with the concept of making a butter block and folding the dough, but I've never made Danishes. I'm seeing a lot of my family on Sunday, and I figured I would give them a treat, and so here we are. For this recipe, we'll need flour, butter, sugar, milk, yeast, eggs, salt, vanilla, and cardamom. So we can go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is make our dough. So let's see. This dough actually calls for a pound of butter. 2 tablespoons of it will be in the dough, but the rest of it will be in the butter block. So let me get my instructions because I already don't know what I'm doing. You can make this, they said either in a bread maker on the knead setting, or you can knead it by hand. We're going to use the stand mixer. So I have my scale and my bowl. I'm going to check my focus really quick to see what this looks like. Alright, so for this recipe, we're going to use 660 grams of flour, which translates to 5.5 cups. So I'm just going to grab a scoop here so I can measure. And honestly, I like using grams so much more because it's so much easier. I think it's faster. There's no guessing. And I think it's also like kind of fun to like try to get it just right on the scale. Definitely recommend a scale for your kitchen. Obviously it's good for baking, but it's good for all sorts of recipes and all sorts of kitchen-y things as well. Alright, so so those are 660 grams. Add that to our bowl. Oh, we lost some. Isn't that the worst? So I'm just going to add a pinch. You'll see as you watch me that I am not a clean baker. I don't know if other people are. I'm sure everyone's a little messy. Okay. And then 1/3 cup of sugar, or 67 grams. I was like, what size scoop am I using? Okay, cool. And then 4 teaspoons of instant yeast. You can also measure that by grams, but my scale, I know it gets a little finicky when it comes to things like teaspoons, so it's better for me just to go ahead and scoop it in there. And if you hear any squeaking in the background, that is my puppy. I gave him a new toy. I tried to ask him if he wanted to go outside, and he said no. So, luckily the toy doesn't squeak very loud, so it shouldn't be too disturbing. Alright, and then it tells you which amount of salt to use based on if you use salted butter or not. We are using salted butter. I use salted butter for everything. It says 1.5 or 2.5, so we're just going to do 2 in the middle. So 2 teaspoons of salt. The squeaking is actually hilarious. That would have been bad. Alright, and then I believe, I hate that I just added yeast and salt. Usually you don't do that. And cardamom. Because salt can kill yeast. But you know, we're rolling with it. So 1/2 to 1 teaspoon. We're just going to go a whole teaspoon. I love cardamom. If it's too cardamom-y, next time we'll do less. Ooh, it smells delicious. Alright, and then let's see, we need to add our 2 tablespoons of butter. So should I measure this or should I just eyeball it? It says just eyeball it. The whole point of adding a little bit of butter to the flour is to coat the flour before it activates the gluten. in the yeast, and this just helps kind of like slow down the yeast development so that the crumb is more tender for your baked goods rather than not. It doesn't make a huge difference that I've noticed, but if the recipe tells me to do it, then I just do it. I don't need to backsass the recipe. Alright, so it says to just cut off a little of each. The reason for that is because we're going to make these 2 blocks into our butter block, and so kind of the less we manipulate them, the easier it'll be to form our butter block. Alright, so there's that. And then we're just going to work this in with our fingers. Just clean this up a little bit over here so there's less stuff in the camera. I'm going to start with a fork just to mix up all of the dry ingredients. And now I will with my fingers, just kind of rubbing the butter into the flour. Hopefully this is an okay sensory experience for you. I don't have like big sensory issues, so I don't mind doing this. But baking can definitely be messy, which can be fun or annoying. So my goal here is kind of just to like make all of the pieces of butter really small. I'm not going to be able to coat obviously every piece of flour with this little bit of butter. But hopefully we have a nice tender crumb in our Danishes. My hope with these videos is that you're able to bake along with me. So hopefully I'm moving at a good pace. Obviously you can always pause or rewind if you need to see something again or if I'm going too quickly. The smell of cardamom is just like fantastic. And you don't have to add cardamom, it is optional. I guess it's just like traditional Danishes have cardamom in them, and I already know that I like cardamom. I already have cardamom. Cardamom's a very expensive spice, so definitely don't feel like you have to have that if you don't have it already. I'm sure everything will be just fine. I actually have the same recipe. Well, so this is by King Arthur, the flour company, and so I have their cookbook, and it also has the Danish recipe, and that recipe does not have cardamom in it. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, but I went with the one off their website because it makes more than the one in the book does. And I wanted to be able to make a decent amount, both for practice and for consumption. Okay, so I would say I've like kind of milled this down. I definitely don't have like the big pieces of butter anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and dust that into the bowl. Okay, beautiful. I also love the smell of flour. It's kind of random, but I do. I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay, so we're gonna move up right along here. I think next is water. Oh. No. When do we add the water? I'm confused. Hold on. Coat the flour. Add the liquids. Oh, okay. We add the water with the milk and the vanilla. I was like, all right. So vanilla, 1 teaspoon. And then 1 cup of milk. This is so much fun for me. You probably can't tell by looking at me, but I'm having a really good time. Okay. And then it says 1/3 to 1/2 cup. Why is that up for debate? And then 2 large eggs. So we're going to do the eggs. And then we want warm water, which I just read is kind of like room temperature. Not too hot because it'll kill the yeast. Not too cold because then the yeast won't activate. And we did put in cold milk, so I'm sure moving along with cold or warmer water is fine. So let me get my water. We're just going to do a half cup. We're going to use this measurement. Okay, I did a little less than half a cup. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and mix that. I'm going to double check just to make sure everything's in there. Alright, cool. So yep, we're going to go ahead and knead this. We're going to just let that come together. I know that it won't become like a really strong ball, but it should like mostly form into a ball. So we're going to let that do its thing. Usually when this is happening, this is when I straighten up. So I'm going to go ahead and straighten up a little bit. Riveting. And my mixer is on a 2 out of 10. You don't want to like knead it too fast on a mixer because you can add too much air and make your dough really tough. You can actually over knead it much easier in a mixer than you can any other way. So I just like to watch it, don't let it go too fast, and really just wait until it all comes together and then I can knead it by hand. I'm just going to let it go until I don't see any more dry spots in it. It's doing really well, so it shouldn't be that much longer. What a fun dough. I'm so excited. Oh, and I didn't mention that this is a 2-day recipe process. So we're making the dough, the butter block, the folds today, and then tomorrow we'll shape it and fill it, bake it, and eat it. Okay, so I feel like this is pretty good. Okay, so we are going to lightly flour our work surface. We're going to work over here. And we're not really going to knead it right now. We're just going to kind of put it together. Let me adjust this. Okay, so we're going to get this beautiful. It's also good to have a little flour on your hands as you're working. Especially because they said it's sticky, and this is sticky. And that's part of the reason why we put it in the fridge, to kind of let the dough rest, let the gluten kind of chill out a little. It'll make it easier for us to work with it and help everything stay together a little bit better. So I have this handy dandy bowl scraper. Highly recommend. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay. I'm going to turn this out. There is a little bit of dry stuff at the bottom, so we'll work that in too. Well, if you make this and you don't use the cardamom, let me know what your dough looks like. This is like a beautiful color, it's a beautiful smell. There's nothing more I could want in life. So yeah, a little bit of dry. So we're just gonna knead that in there basically until it fights me. Which it's fighting me a lot. You can also use like a bench scraper for this. It doesn't even say to knead it, so I'm like trying kind of not to knead it, but I am working this flour into it. Okay. Wow, that's a lot of dough. I'm excited. Okay, so beautiful, sticky, messy. Alright. So we're supposed to wrap this in plastic wrap and then make our butter block. Wrap this and put it in the fridge. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh. Should I get all of it in here? Probably should have like flipped it a different way. But we're learning. That's the point. It's like, I don't want to be in plastic wrap. I'm going to give it a little bit more plastic wrap just because I don't trust that it's all in there. And we can always, like, we don't have to reuse this. Next time we can get new pasta wrap. Alright, so I feel pretty good about that. I'm going to throw that in the fridge. Okay, let me just read you these instructions so we can be on the same page. Cut each stick of butter in half lengthwise. To make 8, we're going to have 4 long rectangles. Oh, well, it's 8 sticks of butter, and we have 2. So we'll have 2 long rectangles. Place a piece of flour parchment paper, put them on there, put another one on top, beat it. So we're going to do one block at a time, because it wants you to split the 8 in half, so you have 4 each. I'll put all these notes in the video description so it's more clear. So let's get some parchment paper. Okay, and it wants it to be lightly floured, so we'll put some flour on it. And it wants us to take our butter and cut it in half lengthwise. So we're going to use our sharp knife. And then we want to make it into a rectangle that is 6 by 9. So put this there. Flour it a little. We're on the move. And then put these on top. Okay. Alright, so we got our ruler, we got our rolling pin. We're just going to beat this. This butter is honestly so soft that, like, rolling it is pretty fine, even when it's really cold. Butter is important. We haven't talked about that yet. I pretty much always use Kerrygold now when I bake, just because it's, like, kind of essential for pastries. And I love making pastries. I've been making a lot of pastries recently. And so I've just decided to use it for all of my baked goods. So 6 by 9. This is like 6 by 7. 7, 6. Keep rolling it out. And this is interesting because a lot of times you want like perfect squares, but this recipe does not call for perfect squares. So I guess that's good. And then we're going to do the same thing. I guess we can leave this here. We'll do the same thing with the other block of butter. Parchment paper. A wee bit of flour. Butter. Cut in half. A little bit more flour. Another piece of parchment paper. And we're going to beat it. You basically just want to beat it until it is soft enough to roll. So that's what our goal is here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Doing rough measurements, and roughly that's 6 by 9. All right. All right, so it's been 10 minutes. So we're gonna roll this out. Let me see what it says to roll it to. 12 by 24. Again, it says not to worry about it. This is really sticky. So I'm a little, it doesn't say anything about it being sticky or not. Let me go back. Yeah. Oh, it actually says to just cover it in plastic wrap. You don't have to take it out and put it in a separate bowl. It says just cover the bowl in plastic wrap. Good to know. So we did an extra step. I don't know how, but we did. So I'm going to put a little bit more flour down. I'll put this down, which is now one with the plastic wrap. That's why it says stretch bake. I'm a little concerned about how sticky it is. But we will see, I guess, how it goes. As usually dough. Laminated dough is not this sticky. So if you've made Danishes, you know, let me know. Your dough is this sticky. I'm like worried. Alright, so we have our dough. I'm like probably going to work with more flour than this would recommend, but it's so sticky. It's 12 by, say, 24. I just love the way it looks with the cardamom. I'm like absolutely loving it. And I know this is stuck to the counter, but we're going to worry about that in just a minute. Okay. Alright, so let's see where we're at. Okay, 12 is good. I'll do this side, it's a little longer. And I would say that's pretty good too. So, 1 butter block. This is softened and I like it to be. I guess the dough is soft too, so lots of softness around here. Put this on 1/3 of the dough. Oh boy. Okay. There we go. Just gonna double check. Okay, so we're supposed to take this over. LOL. I need like a pizza peel. Maybe a little more flour. Okay. I hate that the butter is, well, they said it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly stuck together. I remember that. I'll just go ahead and link this whole recipe in the video description so that you guys can just look at all of their notes as well, because I'm sure I'm not saying everything. Okay, so here we have our very, very sticky dough. Okay. And I'm just trying to work quickly so things stay cold. Okay. And then we're supposed to put the other third on top. This one really doesn't, this is why you flour it. We're learning so much. Take that little bit of butter. Put that there because that's where it's going to end up. Just trying to make sure this is on dough on every angle. This is so funny. That's pretty good. And then we're going to flip it again. So, a little bit more flour here. And flour this part because I'm not going to use it again anyway. Flip this over its final third. I'm very curious to see if everyone's dough is this soft or if I didn't knead it enough. Everybody in. Okay. Alright. Oh, it's so cute. Okay. So here we have this. So soft. Luckily, after we do this next... Hold on. It should go in the fridge now, actually. Well, let's talk about dusting the dough with flour. So I'm assuming it's supposed to be pretty soft. So... now I want you to rotate it, which I've already done. And definitely want more flour on this surface. It's so cute. So not cute. That's why it's cute. Okay. It's like not a rectangle. I can feel the butter now. It makes me happy. So we're going to roll it into a 10 by 24 rectangle. We're going to redust this rolling pin. Love the air bubbles. That's the yeast working, doing its thing. Well, that's already 24 inches at that point. So we're just going to roll it out a little bit long ways. And I think we're doing a letter fold. Oh, we're doing a book fold. So, no, we're hanging off the edge here. That's okay. Alright. So. Oh, it's like completely stuck in the middle. Love it. So, I'm just going to flatten that out a little bit. Make sure it's 24 inches. Which it is. Then a book fold, you do half for each side. I'm just going to flatten it out. Kind of regain some shape here. And do the same thing on this side. Just making sure we're still recording here. Okay. So bring both ends to the middle. I'm just trying to make sure everything's covered, and then we're going to flip it over on itself. And we have a tear here. Don't love it. I don't even know if it's a tear or if it just didn't get seamed correctly. I think it really just didn't get seamed correctly, so we're going to just see if we can tuck that in a little bit. And we'll just be cognizant of that. Basically, it just means that's one less layer we're going to have, because the butter kind of has gone to the outside, and so then it won't create a layer on the inside. But as long as the butter is still there, and it's not like, I don't know, I've had small tears, and I've never had a ruined pastry because of that. Like maybe you don't win an award, but it's still gonna taste delicious. So that's beautiful. Love that. Looks great. I think it wants us to flour it, throw it in the fridge. So it said it should be about 6 by 10. This is a little bit shorter than 6 by 10, but so we can pat it out a little bit. It'll probably make it easier for it to cool down if it's a little bit smaller. I just love the spices in here. I'm like so excited. So pat it out to 6 by 10. And then dust the surface of the dough with flour. It says to wrap it in plastic wrap, but I think we're actually going to do parchment paper. So I'm going to grab a new sheet. And we'll do our best to get it off of here. Oh, it's so much better behaved. And that's something that happens too when you have sticky doughs and you start folding them. They get so much better because the gluten starts to work and hold everything together. So I'm sure it says plastic so that you have more room to expand, but I'm just going to tuck it in. It's so heavy. Alright, and then that's going to go in the fridge for 20 minutes, and then we're going to do a final fold, and then it's going to rest overnight, and then we'll come back tomorrow. So, see you guys in a minute. So we're just going to go ahead and do our second fold now. Get the dough out of the fridge. Again, can we just talk about how massive this dough is? Alright, I'm going to put down, I'm just going to spread this flour around. Beautiful. And now, yeah, there's a little butter that came out there. So I'm gonna do that side up. I think the seam should be there. Good. I'm gonna wrap it again. I might put it in plastic wrap actually for the overnight. But let me just make sure what we're supposed to roll it out to. Oh, okay. So roll it into a rectangle, fold it in a packet, and then roll it again, and then do it. So we're going to roll it twice right now. Okay. Sounds good. So. So we're going to do another book fold. Yeah, so we can see we have like some butter here, but that came through a little bit, but most of it is just like the dough's thin, so it's not actually like butter, just you can see it really easily. But you know, we'll see the final product together, and we will see, you know, if it's bad or not. I'm sure it'll be great though. Okay. We're going to rotate it again. I'm going to re-flour. You always want to keep rotating your dough so that you're rolling it out in different directions. And then I think this is supposed to be the same size. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So just do it again. Same thing. And yeah, it starts to resist because the gluten's working. So it kind of holds everything together, which is why you put it in the fridge so that's easier to roll out. It's also why you want to work quickly, one of the reasons, which is fine because I like working quickly anyway. Okay. Again, so excited for this spiced dough. Cool. Alright, so another book fold. Got some a little bit. I don't know, it doesn't say anything about making it square. It's just I care, I guess. Okay, and then dust it lightly in flour. I don't know if we need to do the whole thing, but got some parts coming out. I'm just going to pat them down. it beautiful? And we're gonna wrap it in plastic wrap. Oof. I wonder how much this weighs. I could put it on the scale, I guess. Alright. Tuck that in. It says wrap tightly. Oh, I'm so happy with it. Looks great. Looks like it's developing well. Okay, and then just for fun, let's see how much it weighs. Oh, we're in ounces. Should we do pounds? 3.5 pounds. Almost 3.5 pounds. Beautiful. Alright, so yeah, this will rest overnight, and then tomorrow we will shape it, roll it out, fill it. There's a cheese filling we're going to make, so see you later. These are the ingredients needed to create the perfect little girls.